matter?
Dark matter, and you've come across so many people.
Oh, I've come across so many people who have so many different versions of dark matter. Even in science, like even outside of the kind of woo-woo realm, there's a bunch of or a couple different theories. So that's why I've like never really thought about it going into it myself. It's like, all right, I don't even know where to begin with something like that.
All right, well, like, how would you define it? How you know it now?
We're live. What up, everyone? Welcome. How would I define it now? Is my best grip is science is antimatter. That's synonymous, right? Dark matter and antimatter. I'll see your video live.
Okay, for sure. I'm seeing it.
Okay, cool. There you go.
Word.
So like just the opposite, or the thing that's in between everything else, the in between stuff, you know.
For sure.
Or the etheric. That's what I mean. Or there's this sort of etheric side that's the spiritual. It could be the subconscious realm, the sort of uh, infinite potential of things before they're made manifest physical. So I have a few different ones bouncing around, and then like I guess how to make it useful, like practical things of the dark matter. I don't know.
For
I don't
sure.
know. Maybe I just don't like the lens, the title of it as dark matter as compared to some of its other synonymous names. I don't know.
For sure. I know there was a media personality that talked about it as dark matter is wrong and we should just call it Fred. Because to use the term dark matter implies that there's light matter. It also implies that there's like dark liquid or dark gas because we're creating arbitrary lines. And essentially, what the term dark matter is trying to point at is the substratum of the cosmos. So, what is everything that's making everything before light is shining upon it? Now, you can say that that's like stagnant gravity in some ways because there's a well of energy that hasn't really been moved yet. Now, to shift gears a little bit, we have the physical plane, sure. And some would say there's like a magnetic plane or an ethereal plane, which is like animal magnetism, like how you're mesmerized by a cool design, or people
Okay.
gawk and when they see like something on the side of the road, like an alligator's crossing the road, oh my gosh, we have to stop and stare at it. Like that kind of engagement would be the, in my opinion, the denser form. So we got like a denser reality of etheric and primal energy. And then it goes up to our physical space, which is a small bandwidth, like the color green, as far as the whole rainbow. There's way more than we can perceive. And then above that, we could call that the astral or the celestial space. But that's where like intuition and ideas and things come from. Now, all three of those, the physical matter, the etheric matter, and the astral matter, would be on one half of the scale. And the other half of the scale would be the dark or the negative or the inverse or Fred.
I see.
Because this is the thing that casts the shadow against all of the other ranges that gives them the depth of being able to exist in time space as we know it. But if
So
there's not a reference point, there's no way for it to have a relationship to anything. Does this work at all?
yeah, would I be safe in saying it's the opposite of the mind, body, soul sort of trifecta that we hear about a lot?
Rather than opposite, it would be something more like the perfect inverse.
How is that different?
The opposite of the opposing force would say that like you have a mind and then you have like a dark mind. And then you have like a body and then you have like a dark body. And then you have like a soul and then you have a dark soul. What I'm trying to say is that body, mind, and soul would be unified on the axis of isness. And then on the other side, there would be not or is
Okay, I see.
notness.
Okay, I got you.
Word.
Slight difference, but important. I get you.
For sure. And it's the nuance of opposites or negatives.
Which we usually lump in together.
English is tricksy for sure. But shouting the
Yeah.
good waves to the people in the chat box. Hello.
Shout out, Coyote. Suan, Hessa, good morning. I always forget Hessa's over in Dubai. We're actually getting some two different varieties of frankincense from Hessa on the way. I know, I'm stoked.
Super stoked. And that block of frankincense that you gifted to me, I was able to gift along to Elder of the Crow Nation, which is one of the reservations up here. So
I saw that. And what they say? Were they stoked? Were they like, fuck yeah? Or
I think it was a huge surprise because previously I'd been gifted some bull's wood, which is a kind of wood or meditation incense that's used commonly in this area, as I was identified as a meditation teacher. They said, you're doing meditation and trance work. Yeah, okay, well, this is some of our sacrament. And so the next time I saw them, I was like, hey, here's a chunk of some high quality frankincense incense resin for you to work with. And it was just like
Was it
I don't
still
know.
gooey? Was there any gooey spots left on it still?
Oh man, it was untouched.
Oh, nice.
As you sent it, it was like super ready. So I burned through the other one, but I kept the little bricks and I'm
Nice.
hyper on the gift point, so no worries on it. I'm just super stoked to see that there's more coming from across the pond
There's
because I
more
think
coming from 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think. What time is it over there? So, good morning. Buenos dias. Who else we got? CQ. Vamos. Let's go. Allons-y. Marche. Antoine. Phuket. Name, man. I'll never get over it. Natural by nature. Showing up again. Nice to see you. You're still relatively new to the channel, right? I think. That's dope. Cool. Are we picking up where we left off, or are we starting something new? Because I don't know the
for
answer
sure
to
we got a
that one.
couple different rhythms and patterns. I think we kind of capped on the we capped on the title of the video, which is dark matter.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dark matter. What up?
For sure, for sure. I think connecting the idea of dark and light is something that can allow the idea maybe to also go to the concept of what a light worker is.
Oh,
Because I don't know how you'd define it, but I'd say you have some dark workings in your light work.
for sure, 100%. I'd say I have plenty based off of my interests, man. I'm wondering. I'm like, how can I be such like on the spiritual hype, and then I'm just into the darkest shit, man. Go to bed listening to horror stories sometimes out of just like comfort. It's weird, but does that lend credence to where you're going, by the way, as far as light workers and defining them?
Totally, absolutely. I think it has to do also with a comment that was brought up saying dark matter is thought matter. Dark matter is potential. So arguably,
Yeah.
if you're talking about light and dark, the dark is only that which is in the shadow or that which isn't seen by the light. Now, that doesn't
The dark
preclude
doesn't see.
the dark may see, but would the dark be able to see the light, or would the dark only have dark vision?
I don't know.
Okay, because then you'd have to think what the difference, like Blade, the Daywalker, right? He's like the vampire thing, but then he can walk around in the daytime. So he would be one of the few vampires who sees the solar world. Well, there's also going to be solar people that happen to walk around in nightlife, so they can have like lunar
Oh, I see. Sort of like the light banishes the darkness, but the darkness can't banish the light. Sort of kind of thing.
For sure. And it would be another thing to say that the light is a contrasting opposite to the darkness. They define each other. You cannot have light without darkness because it gives it depth.
Correct. Okay. Well, then, no, it wasn't what I was talking about then. All right. But still, all right. Keep going. Continue.
The educational component would have to do with understanding that we're presented the concept of dark matter as though it's something nebulous and really hard to work with, kind of like quantum stuff. But really, if you do one of my favorite mudras, you just hold your hands together like you're holding some water. It's a really peaceful thing to kind of calm your body down. So, yep, just gently have your hands together so your fingers touch, 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 and you just imagine a water stream coming from above, and you're trying to keep as much water. That means you're probably going to lose some down the center, but that's the cost of being able to hold as much as you can. So, arguably, in your hands right now, there's dark matter. But there's also light, so the light is making it seen. So it looks like there's nothing there, but it's full of potentiation. So holding a mudra or holding a space or a yoga pose or doing a physical activity would be a way to consolidate that gravity, be a way to consolidate that thought energy. So we need to find ways to create our own, superpositions, our own relationships to the energy around us so that we can move things forward. A black hole would be when you see somebody who's just mad and they're mad that they're mad and they're mad that they're mad that they're mad and they're just like this torrent of a downward reflection. Versus a supernova would be somebody's like ecstatic and happy and excited that they're excited and happy and ecstatic. And if you sustain that, you can enter a form of living that makes you seem almost like a demigod because you're connected with the biocomputer that you have and the availability of hormones that are running through it based on your thought patterns, rather than believing you need external stimulation like Pizza Hut pizza in order to be happy if something happened, rather than realizing that it's your own choice that makes the stuffed crust kick.
Yes, to all that. That's not to say that it's not helpful for those outside kicks, right? Or what would be your, do you think there's a 50-50 balance, or do you think that you got to be generating 90% and then, maybe the other 10% on the external as far as creating that demigod that you're talking about?
Word. I know that 100% of that energy is available inside. You only have to tap into 1% of it for it to work. However, if you're convinced that it is the pizza that fixes you, it'll never do anything. However, if you know that you really enjoy the pizza and you're willing to make an offering to the pizza deity in that way and be respectful to it, then you'll probably get some blessings from the pizza cult. It'd be more than happy to take care of you because that's also part of our species. That combination of wheat and tomato and mucus or cheese and the different ingredients and the cooking and the heat and then the sharing of the alchemical square and the circle and the triangle. Like it's super deeply embedded inside of our psychology. But to say that something is evil or something is good would be a form of judgment, and that judgment only exists to have contrast. The
Yes.
cheetah or the lion or the tiger in the jungle isn't going to judge, is this a good thing or a bad thing? The contrast in its brain is based on survival. So now what we're doing as human beings is we're like hyper theorizing about stuff rather than really realizing what we need to be happy. And most of that's like slowing down, eating good food, giving your attention to the things that you want. And also
Everything.
eating good food is eating good sound, eating good books, eating good ideas, and knowing when you've had too much. Maybe there's a time for people to slow down and to cease obsessing about whatever they're excited about so that it can come in. But like if you're always training to be a really good sports player and then you never actually play the game, you could be great in theory, but that's not allowing your sportsmanship to grow.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who's like a really awesome bowler and they're great to bowl with, but they haven't really refined their technique, so they're never going to get a 300. It's a matter of deciding and sort of defining where you want your reality to be. I'm trying to find the right word for this. Nexus around, for lack of a better term.
All right. How does that fit in with dark matter then?
The nexus would be where the gravity is going.
So, all right. Well, that's why I said black hole earlier, because I was like, all right, well, that's just concentrating something so that you can create enough gravity to pull it towards you. That sort of was my thought process earlier on the black hole.
Word.
I meant to say that, but you were given the anger analogy, and I was like, oh, I can see that. Just all anger smashing in on itself into infinity, so I was like, all right.
Word.
Noted.
There's also the excitement of wanting to do something and not allowing yourself to stop until you've done it. I mean, maybe it's like a paint a shed or like build a podium or a book stand or a bookshelf.
Book elf.
Elf to hold your books. Hello. The concept of done is the engine of more. So if you're doing something and you're completing it and you say, check, this is done, it's more. Dark matter is basically things that haven't been done yet.
And your nexus?
The nexus would be what you have it based around. So I think for you, Keith, nexus would be somewhere between the idea of self and the idea of family. Okay. Before you had a family, when it was just you, the idea was probably the nexus of yourself and the nexus of your experience.
I see. Yeah.
Before you had much residual self-image, your identification was with your experience and not even with who you are. So moving forward through would be the renunciation and the detachment of the expectation of physical matter to reflect back what we're doing, because the dark matter can't help but give us what we give it.
Okay.
So it's sort of following your passion in the sense that if you're not excited about something, it won't happen. So we haven't been excited to create things, which is why there's so much potentiation. However, as soon as people get excited, they turn that dark matter into body, mind, or soul, whatever it would be.
I see. All right.
That would be the transformation process. Is this all clicking to get there?
That almost, I was going to say, that almost sounds like God in that sense.
I'm not going to argue with you about it. I mean, we could just spell it backwards and call it dog.
Or the thing, or that undefinable thing.
Yes. If you can talk about it, it's probably not the Tao.
Yeah, that's right. That is the Tao, right?
I guess, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I should put a shoe
trick question. I don't know. Yeah, that's funny.
And that's the ability to know is to admit that you don't know. So when people are talking about extracting energy from dark matter or trying to find ways to make like quantum batteries, they're acknowledging that there's a field of unknown that you can tap into.
And make known. In their lens, and the way they want it to be made known.
Right. Just like you're deciding how you want to be made known based on the clothes that you wear when you leave the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the clothes that you don't wear.
Dun, dun, dun. Naked time!
What? Because the knot does so much most of the time. Dark matter is the tricky thing. Damn. See, this is probably one of the reasons why I don't follow dark matter, because I'm just like, is it one of those things? And I'm just gonna like have one of those infinity blackouts?
I mean,
where,
you
where you
might
just look,
find
where
it.
you just your balls deep in it, and you look like on the planets, and you look at the home, and you just like zap into infinity.
Word?
What happened? Like, I wish I could, but I can't.
What if dark matter is the fuel of beliefs?
um. Well, under the definition we already gave, it would have to be everything that you throw out there, right?
Right. So if you believe in standing up, you stand up. If you believe
Uh-huh.
in the greater good, you would live that way. If you believe people are to be
Yeah.
ethical and kind and moral, you would live that way.
Oh,
So
I see.
everything
Yeah.
that's not expressed yet would be potentially waiting in that infinitum space known as dark matter, which yeah,
Correct.
would be most of everything, that empty space in between. But isn't life also about the journey from the place to the place rather
Yeah.
than like the bookends?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you could also say the dark matter could be pre-developed or primal consciousness.
Uh huh.
Because dark matter could be seen as the force or the 0 point field if you're following Lynn McTaggart and some of that quantum stuff that pulls your synchronicity buttons. So when you
Ooh,
decide
is
to
that
take
how
a
that
right
works?
instead of a
That idea
left,
works?
where else could it come from?
You asking me or telling me?
I'm asking you, where else could that energy come from if not from the infinite, that which is not?
Yeah, it has to come to that. Or it has to come from that. It has to come from that. It has to come from that.
Right. And so, since there is that thing that you can tap into, which is the infinite availability, if you light a candle and do a prayer or a meditation, you're funneling or channeling or redirecting that potentiation into an
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah.
However, if you already know what you're doing, you can just imagine a candle and imagine the thing, and you don't even have to do it because you'll be doing it. However, that's why the ancient rules of ceremonial magic kick so hard in our language, is because the people who didn't know decided they was going to put on some aprons and do some crazy rituals that they learned from their elders that have some kind of lasting impact in the future on us. You following?
Yeah. I think so. So you're saying what I say a lot of the times with any ritual period is that you're sort of concentrating the focus, which sort of collapses. The words I would use, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is like you're using mind to collapse the potential reality into physical form. You're just like all sorts of stuff, and you focus on something long enough, and then it slowly starts to just.
Right.
And
And that
that's
would
what.
all, you
And
could
but you're
also
saying
say
you
that
also
it's
that's ritual, but you also don't need the ritual. Is that what you're saying? That's the second part. If you
right.
just
So I would
know.
say that the mechanics behind that ritual
Uh
would
huh.
be the utilization of your belief and then a
Correct. Exactly.
multidimensional awareness of discipline that says my
Exactly.
multidimensional discipline says I'm going to sit here and be mindful for 5 minutes. And then my
Correct.
belief is going to show me that I don't have to worry about the neighbors and all this stuff and all these stressors. So I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to calm down from this mindful space.
Interesting. All right.
However, if you only sit down and become mindful when there's a statue of the Buddha in front of you, that doesn't serve the purpose, because that
I
mindfulness is a
see.
constant frequency that you can
I
tune
see.
into, and to assign it to that
Almost like
practice.
you're missing the point. If you need Buddha,
Fact.
you're missing the point.
Well, you need a role model to realize it works. And then after you have the role model,
Yeah.
then you can.
Yeah.
Some people incarnate just knowing. Like, you ever see the Hercules with Kevin Sorbo? He just like picks up a lute and bow, banana, now. He's just great at it. Like, there's all these times that people just instantly know stuff rather than
uh,
having to take the time to learn it. And that's where some of the ancient books, that's where reading the texts and making sure that you're getting like the background becomes really relevant. Because if you're teaching something that you don't know the source of, you could be teaching a misinformed limb of it.
mm, yeah. But do we need that limb? Period. Like bottom line, we could find a way around. We could connect strictly through the will of it without the ritual. Is what I'm getting at, right? Without the
Totally.
proper ritual.
So propriety in that way, the proper one would have to do with the set and setting as defined by the society and the self. So
Correct.
whoever the person is, if they feel ostracized by their culture, they may have to do some kind of other cultural relevant thing to create that belief system feedback loop.
Uh
Rather
huh.
than somebody who is raised in a culture they agree with, they may see that following the standard model is what's going to get them to release that DMT urge that says that they're actually in charge.
Yeah, I'm on it 100%. So earlier when I said if you feel like you need the Buddha, you're missing the point. That's what I was leaning towards. Is it's like
Totally.
you understand that it really is the pure intention. It's just
Right.
there are easier intentions to work with because you and your society accept it, kind of thing.
Right. And to
But
cliff
to
that,
believe that. Oh my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
to believe that there's a requirement for an external source is erroneous.
Yes.
So if you have to believe in a Buddha, you lost it. If you know you are the Buddha, you got it.
Okay, so let's bring this back to dark matter then. Well, how is this? How can we make this applicable, or what are you trying to spiel with it?
By magnetizing your intention, that transforms any dormant dark matter around you into the reflection of your will.
I like that. That was a beautiful picture. Well
Gratitude.
painted.
Hey, Agent Smith is here. Yeah.
Well painted. What up, Smith? Nice.
Word,
Thanks for
word,
joining
word,
in.
word. Bless.
I'm gonna try and put the screen so it's split screen all the time because I know it's bouncing back and forth, and I'm not sure I know how to do that, and it might take me a minute to find it.
Word, take your time.
Um,
Dang, I'm gonna give you a static video piece to go on real quick. So click.
Okay, touch up my appearance. I have when they're turned on. So if you guys are wondering why we're looking so sexy, I have the touch up my appearance set for Zoom. That built-in filters, man. I forgot about that. I totally forgot that was a thing. Oh, we should always display your name on your video. That's useful. I'll turn that on. Sorry about that, Richie. Now he should have your name back. All right, I can't find it right now. Oh well, I'll mess with it later. Sorry, guys. Cool. Is there anything in the? Did we finish the thought? Because we had a good one. Did we end it? Oh, you're on mute. Something happened.
Bless. It's on my end.
Okay.
I think we capped together the idea and revisited enough of dark matter to say that we've got at least a little bit of traction so that individuals can get the fulfillment of that being the subject topic of the video.
Great.
It'd be a potential if you want to dive back into the chat logs to see if anybody wants to continue going that direction, talking about like the mustard seeds and how
that's where I was headed if we hadn't finished the thought. I was just about to say, let's see what's going. Take a gander in the gallery and see what's going on.
Word.
Hessa, that's right. Hessa, what up, Anton? Dark matter, thought matter. All right, we covered that. Superposition, nice. That's quantum physics word for it, right? Superposition.
Two things existing at the same time. Yep.
Yeah.
On the same plane. Yep.
Laced that. I don't know what you meant by that, Gianni, but I like laced for some reason. It sounds nice to say. Laced. Mm-hmm. Is there any questions? Did I miss any questions? Do you see anything, Richie? Anything?
Seen the rock of time is monolithic rocks, like original meditation objects. Where did the rock come from? Super dope. Dang. And then got somebody talking about dark matter synchronicity. So I'd say that just to dive through consciousness real quick, the dark matter, the 0 point plane, that's where like pre-existing consciousness could be seen as.
Wait, say it again.
Pre-existing consciousness. So consciousness before it has a vessel. Could be seen in this like dark matter 0 point space. And then it's built into a form of mineral or crystallization.
Yeah.
So that would make the mineral kingdom the first expression of consciousness. The rules of the mineral kingdom have to do with the ore. All the ore is going to like grow in a specific way. Mm-hmm. All the veins of the different minerals are going to act certain ways around the planet and affect the trees. Mm-hmm. The difference is going to be involved specifically when you go to the next kingdom, because you're pushing from the mineral kingdom up into things that are growing consistently, kind of like plants. But a plant is like a biocrystalline machine.
It is fucking biocrystalline. That's funny.
With that kind of expansion, you have to think how mineral consciousness could conceptualize the power or the cognizance of plant consciousness. Like it's a no-brainer. That's like a preschooler trying to think about a PhD program. Well, the plants are moving forward and upward, and somewhere between plant and creature, there's that mushroom window. Because technically the mycelium are consuming oxygen and releasing carbon rather than the plants, which are consuming carbon and releasing oxygen.
Exactly.
So when that line gets crossed and you get up into from the plants into the animal consciousness, animal spirits, again, they're going to look like a PhD master thesis program when compared to the plant consciousness. Like you're going to put a rhododendron in the same kind of IQ test as like a turtle. They're going to have different results. So with that differential frame in mind, you have to remember that we as creatures identify with the other creatures, so much so that the line between critter and human is kind of a dotted one. It's only when as a human being you're connected to a society or a neighborhood or a family or a tribe or some unified group that's larger than one or two people.
Yeah.
you key into the next level of consciousness above human, whether that's corporate consciousness or ET or alien or extraterrestrial or deity or lower archangel. It all depends upon your mythos system. But being
Uh-huh.
able to look at it in that scale, each one of those kingdoms, from mineral to plant to creature to human to beyond, is reflected against the infinite dark matter mass. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like there's dark matter level 1, dark matter level 2, dark matter. It's
Yeah.
just that.
Yeah.
So that's to tie it all back in and to button with the idea of where the rocks come from.
Rocks. They're also from, I saw a video of some volcano exploding in Japan. I was like, I didn't realize we had footage this nice. HD explosion. I was like, oh my, this is terrifying. Fucking watching volcanoes, bro.
Pele, Pele, boom. Oh man.
It's like they look like they're moving in slow motion. Like, no, they're just that big and that far away. Those things are moving faster than bullets, and they're bigger than houses, man. Like, oh my god.
Ooh. Doof, doof, doof.
Anywho, rocks. Yeah, rocks are some pretty fucking powerful things. I was thinking when you brought up rocks growing like veins in the planet,
Yeah.
how plants grow certainly over different ones. I was like, I wonder if they've done studies like, oh, this, like, by the way, this forest is growing over a gold mine, and like, look at these ones that grow over silver mines, where they, you know, like make comparisons with the ore elementals that are under the trees. I wonder if anyone's done anything like that.
Dang. I know that there's a specific problem that's happening by an issue that's happening in the dirt in this area. So where I am in Montana, there's some specific plants and trees that are growing some weird orange stuff on the outside, and that's because there's a kind of fungus that showed up that carries toxins inside of the soil. So it's slowly turning these trees bark yellow and orange. They're slowly dying from the inside, but it's an invasive species of mycelium that can't really be removed or mitigated. So it's a
Yeah.
matter of realizing that that's how this biomatter planet itself is adjusting. It's changing.
Uh-huh.
That organic growth is something that we would label as evil. Things are burning. It's bad. Stuff is going and falling apart. Like essentially, the volcano was going to explode. And there are some tribes that don't think that's an angry god. There's some tribes and Aboriginal societies that think that that's the orgasm of the planet.
Oh shit, nice, I like that.
Right. So instead of it being a bad and scary thing, it's like, no, you got to make sure everything's good so you can enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
It's that level of respect for the experience. Like we've
Yeah.
talked about other times, there's some people who are doing stuff kind of for the tourist vibe rather than really being there for the experience itself.
Uh-huh. Yeah, damn.
Word.
I gotta check
Connecting the
out that
dots.
mushroom that you were talking about with that thing. I'm curious. I always like find it funny when I hear of a parasitic mushroom in a forest and that's taken over, and I'm like, "Oh, you're not stopping that. Like, how do they plan on stopping? There's probably the whole forest is sporulated at this point. There's no way. Like, just chalk up to a loss or what? That's wild.
So again, the concept of loss would be something that's precluding that there's a win. And I think in the concept of having
Yeah.
good sportsmanship for the layer of life that's involved, we'd have to realize that as long as life continues, life wins.
Dope. All right. So then in that case, we'll spin it. Uh Mushrooms will come down in parasitic. I should first stick my foot in my mouth. I just read that parasite mushrooms role they think in ecosystems is to come in and wipe out an entire clearing of the forest so that the other mushrooms would start breaking down the dead material. You build up the humus, you bring in animals, the animals start churning up the dirt faster than plants, and that's how old growth forests get there. And I'm like, oh, the mushrooms, they came in and they killed like a giant. So if it's my point is, if a huge portion of the forest is about to get knocked out, that means maybe a fantastically large forest is about to be grown from it.
Absolutely. And that would be playing the long tail perspective, realizing
Yeah.
that we are part of Pachamama. We are part of that
Yeah.
reality.
100%, man. Which is funny because a lot of people out there are like, humans aren't natural. What humans do aren't natural. And I'm like, have you seen Nat Geo lately? Have you watched the Discovery Channel lately? Like, no, animals are crazy, man. They're up to all sorts of things. All of them. But yeah, no, we're definitely part of Pachamama and like nature. We are of the minerals like you were saying, we are of the minerals of this planet. We carry that same chain of fucking energy in us, you know? Like,
Totally. And there's even that happens in our language. You say this person's like the salt of the earth, or that person's got kind of a salty attitude. You're commenting on a
oh
high
yeah,
mineral content. Talk about somebody's
bitter,
really,
like, oh, that person's bitter, which is salt and bitter.
or sweet.
Sweet also. Sweet also. So I want to quote my line again. My what's in the name.
Yeah.
What's in the name? See if that fits there. I get why people quote Shakespeare all the goddamn time, because it's like, all right, I know, as an adult, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get why people are like, this guy was a G, because he was just on it with so much stuff, dude.
Facts. It could even be, yeah, it could be pushed further to say that individuals are citing the works of Shakespeare because they know those truths are so true that to try to reinvent them.
100%.
Word. Shouts to Alchemy of Life just rolled in.
I was thinking of you earlier today, Alchemy. I was thinking of you because Richie reminded me to think of you. I was like, Richie's right. I need to get Alchemy back on the channel. It's been too goddamn long. So whenever you're ready, I feel like if we hop on tonight, we'll be here for another 4 hours. Which might not be a bad thing. Anywho, we'll link up, Alchemy. We'll get you on the channel because I miss talking to you. Thanks for showing up. Amy, Letitia, Antoine. Was there something? Are we missing any questions that you saw, or is there like? Alchemy, do you have something to say? It's been a while. What up, homie?
Bliss.
You didn't say you wanted a Q&A earlier, did you? Oh no, you said that we talked about enough for the people that wanted to see the dark matter stuff. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can revisit any topics. I'm totally down.
For what else? Someone asked about dreams earlier, didn't they? I didn't get back to it.
Yeah, repeating dreams, but it looked like somebody resolved it in there too.
Nice. Go squad. That's what I'm talking about. Efficiency. Well done. Oh, Fanny Potts. I love that name. It sounds like a mythical elf woman in her fairy huts.
Word.
Nice. Don't know why necessarily, but it's not Alchemy. We were in and out of dark matter, but it did come back, I think, for a second, just because might as well. It's the nexus at the moment.
Word. Absolutely. You require more pylons.
Oh my god. Saktaladat. Dude, I hope you were making a StarCraft joke, by the way, because that's what I take it as.
We need more Vespian gas.
Tell me on this, because this, of all, if we're line dropping StarCraft, my go-to since the day I played it when I was like 12 in Circuit City or whatever I was in when it was on display, and I was like, I must have this game. Was the he goes Hari, and the big glowing orb dude says that. I swear to God, I say that phrase in my head like at least once a month, where I'm just being all weird in the back, like, like, why am I fucking saying that? But I'm curious, Archon. Like, dude, the Archon, that's right, that's what it is. It's the Archon who says that.
Which you only get by taking 2 Templars and binding them into one force.
Damn. So my next question was, I wonder if have you heard of any occult shit behind like that phrase? It had like, it's Blizzard, like I'm sure they're putting subliminal stuff in there. So I was curious if you just drop some shit on me. It's exactly there's Archons that you blend 2 of them together, and he runs around screaming.
And there's even the expansion when you go Brood War that has the Dark Templar that can bind to become the Dark Archon.
Yeah, that's right. They did polarize it too, didn't they?
For sure. So in that kind of aspect, like to touch on the dark matter aspect, there are some people who have negative belief systems, and it's as though they're utilizing the concept of belief energy or that empty space, and they're predefining that negative empty space to be bad, kind of like that black hole of anger. I'm mad because I'm not this. I'm mad because I don't have that. I'm mad. Some people will create that kind of nexus of energy and then bind with another person's negative energy and create sort of a self-perpetuating feedback loop of that belief system.
Yeah.
There's also a way to create
resonance. Ladies and gentlemen, we call that resonance.
Well, technically, that would be advanced dissonance.
I guess I was being smart with it. I was saying you will resonate with your disresonance.
For sure. And the dissonance and the resonance is important, just like the dis and the society are really intrinsically connected.
Say again?
The disbanded or the disrespected or the dis of society versus the people who are in high society, they're the same thing as light matter and dark matter. They're the same thing as that kind of reflection space.
Oh, okay.
So we could be talking about potentiation or the energy of belief. We're just calling it Fred. or dark matter or belief fuel, and you just have to have enough sacred totems. And the totem doesn't have to be spiritual. Maybe you have an object that to you is really special. So when you have that special object, you feel, hey, you got the special thing. But without that special thing, you kind of feel less empowered. It has nothing to do with the thing and everything to do with your belief on what the thing does for you. So to redesign your belief system, run it.
But this is my question on the balance of power I asked you earlier was, yes, I believe, I'll say as my belief, personal has most of the power, the external has a little bit of power, mostly because you have more control over the self than the external world. So right where I cut you off was because I was saying there is some power in the thing outside your belief because so many people have believed in it, so it has some sort of like, so what I'm looking, residual juju. So there, what that exists, that does exist outside of your belief, at least for the time being, while it has enough residual juju.
Right. And instead of the term juju, which I totally agree with it, but I use that in other traditions. There's a lot to use for like the juju vibes and the juju beings.
Oh, dope. All right.
I think about it as dross.
Okay.
So
Dross.
dross is the thing that makes the thing special. So if this bracelet was given to me by the ancient shaman of this culture, it has a lot of dross. And if I set it down and walk away from it, it could still retain that belief residue or that dross energy.
Yeah.
Being able to make something or create your own wire wrap or generate your own object or totem or offering would be to imbue dross within something.
Correct.
Some of us are raised, just brought up in the world with more belief in ourselves.
Yeah.
Others of us are brought up with more belief in faraway things. And some of us are brought up without belief, like we're brought up as anti-believers. And that's where our strength is to question the reality. So this kind of ties into the idea of the Buddhism is, it's good, but you don't have to need it. Because according to the yogic systems, Buddha is simply the 14th incarnation of Vishnu. And that incarnation of Vishnu is designed to tell the message that says life is suffering and therefore it's blissful. Now, according to the yogic texts, that's like a trap because life is blissful. Why did you have to mention the suffering? And because it's the 14th time he's tried to say this, he's trying everything he can. And Vishnu's like, well, I'm just going to tell you it hurts because you all have pain, and then you're going to have unification over the combined of suffering.
And everyone was like, yeah, that's the one.
Right. And then 2 incarnations later, the 16th incarnation was Jesus Christ. So they have a map.
So this is Hindu?
Yeah, for sure.
So the Hindu are sitting in like every incarnation and they're like, hey, they're calling it Christianity this time. Like, is that kind of how Hindus roll?
Absolutely. The concept would be that it's intrinsically constructed within the Ayurvedic system of knowledge of reality. So like the dosha of your body and the things that you eat are directly connected to the spirits that are watching over you from the alchemical time of your birth.
Yes.
And that means that if there are people who are practicing a form of chaos, they may not know that they are Kali initiates, but they're functioning with the energy of that dark destruction. So therefore they would be living that sort of Durga vibe through that pathway. You follow one point there?
Yep, 110.
None of it makes it intrinsically systematically true. It's simply a system. So by creating a system and feeding belief into it, it becomes more true. And at a certain threshold, that becomes a universal truth.
Yeah. And you're calling that draws, huh?
Yeah, I pulled the term dross from White Wolf. I've played like Vampire the Masquerade and Mage of the Ascension and a bunch of tabletop role-playing games. And dross is the term that they use to measure magical energy.
There's a character by the name of Dross in Troll Hunter, which is a surprisingly good show. The first season, riddled with occult stuff too. It's hella funny, and Illuminati stuff too. They've got tons of all-seeing eyes throughout the show. Like for sure, watch it with a peculiar lens because you'll have fun if you guys are into that kind of thing. But Dross have come up
for sure. I'm down to check it out. I think I want to send a shout out to Anthony Michael. I think if I'm saying it right. Who the fuck is this guy? If you talk about me, my name is Richie's DXY. You can find me at rainbowcrystal.org to schedule an appointment. I hang out.
I'm bummed that it didn't put your name up. I thought I clicked the check. Maybe we have to do in the next lab. I got you. But yeah, he's Richie Live, and he's been on the channel of. He's Richie Live. He's Richie. The man's name is Richie, and he slays. Yeah, you want to put your link? Is it Linktree that you talked about that you sent me? That's Yeah,
I've
she's
got a
got
link tree. I think the easiest way for people right now is if they go to rainbowcrystal.org.
rainbowcrystal.org. There
Yep.
you
In
go.
2 clicks, you can make an appointment with me. So that's a matter if you want to send emails back and forth, if you want to make a video chat, if you want to arrange things. I've got really like feather trigger stuff going on. So totally down to hang out and collaborate. I've got social media things as RichieZXY across most platforms, but usually I'm behind the scenes trying to run the admin kind of stuff. So I've had some really amazing people reach out to me because of these streams with you, Keith. I really appreciate it. So any of the
Yeah.
Man Letters crew that wants to reach out, be invited. You're blessed.
Yeah, if you're getting the urge, definitely pull the trigger. What's the name of your show? Do you have a name of your show? Do you have a proper show?
Not yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about that one of how to make a proper show, or under those contexts, or something like that.
For sure, for sure. So throw questions and then kind of anchor back to the show. So it's an
Okay.
appointment just to talk, to do one-on-one stuff, or to send an email and to say you want to talk about things. So it's organically structured as an appointment because I'm a wellness education focused. That's what I'm trying to do. So it's Rainbow Crystal, and I have a couple podcasts out. If you look up my name, and you can find things like I've got about 6 hours of DJing on Mixcloud that I did years ago when I was doing more EDM DJing work. Got some music produced. What I'm putting together is a podcast called The Rough Draft, which is going to be a 5-episode lesson on how to make your own podcast. So it's a podcast about building your own podcast, and it's going to have templates and links and things that people can follow, and how I uploaded it all to Stitcher and how everything gets online so that it can be replicated. But right now I'm making guest appearances on other people's channels just because I think it's so dope that we have this opportunity to collaborate with people, and I'm really impressed by how individuals hold it down.
Smith got you on the link, by the way.
Gratitude.
And I already got him with the emoji. Just so you guys know, this is partly a sales gimmick, but partly hilarious at the same time. If you join the Man of Letters community, you have access to emojis, and one of them is the Agent Smith emoji for Agent Smith. So feel free to drop that thing anytime Agent Smith does some Agent Smith shit, like drops links, kicks trolls out of the live, which he's done a couple times now, I think, or other general badassery. Thank you, Smith, for all you do. Much appreciated. Yeah. So did you say questions? Was that to the live, or is that questions on your business?
I'm open for any and all questions. I'm just shifting gears here, making sure that we can keep them grounded connected. I think we've got pretty good stats so far.
Yeah, 100%. I just wanted to. I wasn't sure if you were saying that we were questions to answer. I was saying we should jump into those. In other words, if they were here. But yeah.
What are you up to, Keith? What you up to, man?
At this very moment in time.
So like, what kind of stuff did you do today? I don't need to know like the play-by-play, but I'm just wondering the general gist. Was it a good day?
I put together a couple of showers this morning. I put together a couple of Etsy packages. Couldn't finish them because my printer broke, so now I have to print them at my dad's house shop, which is in a different city. Some friends become enemies, some enemies become friends. Hopped on a live with you. Oh, shot a video that's gonna be uploaded after this, which was dope. I liked it. It felt like one of those videos where like you're kind of talking to yourself more so, but you're just kind of, and it was all about like you can be loved and receive all the blessings of life without, like doing all your shadow work or like destroying your ego or like becoming the perfect version of yourself. Like you can achieve all of the blessings of life can be had now as you are. And I was like trying to give that sort of message. But yeah.
Totally good vibe. I'd cliff note that in the presentation to say that sometimes the hardest part of shadow work is identifying that you have something you need to do.
Is that what?
Just identifying that you have some that you may need to be doing.
Oh, seriously though.
Because as soon as you admit and you say, hey, maybe I've got some difficulty, all of a sudden, like, shh, the pressure's off because you've made it known. So it's also that idea of like, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
I tend to think about it in the plant metaphor. I don't usually have too many plants around me, but I'm getting some more these days. And when I see plants growing, the first thing I think is like, man, how does that plant feel?
Really?
The plants are like, oh my God, gravity, it never gives up. I never get a break. Like
more cell wall.
For sure. Versus there's some plants that you just see and they're just like, I'm having a grow. It's nice. Everything is good. You're like, dang, you get on with yourself, you little vine, you ivy grow. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. That's
It's
hella
those
funny.
simple lessons that it's finding ways to integrate. So we're
Yeah.
entering a different age because we have like file tree networks and we store things in the cloud and we're staring
Mm,
at these light boxes, which are really electrically excited rocks. So
yeah. Oh, what's up, Kingston? How's it going? You enjoying it? You're making a zoo out of Legos? Just Legos? Nothing else? No pillows, no boxes, no. Nice. I like it. Oh, animals. See, that's what I'm talking about. All right, have fun. Put them away. They never put them away.
So have you read the Urantia book or do you know anything about that text?
No, I don't.
Dang. It's like
Urantia?
Urantia, Urantia, I think. Urantia book is a huge book, like this page, this many pages. Like we're
Uh-huh.
talking like multi-thousands of pages.
Like tarantula, but just without the t and the l.
I think it may be spelled that way, but I think contextually it's the whole earth is a ranch.
Ooh. Oh, I see. Terror Ranch.
Right.
Right.
For sure. So the Urantia book actually goes super deep. It's written by, they call him the blind prophet, I think. And it was a
Uh-huh.
dude who like didn't have vision and like found if he put on a blindfold he could just write, and he wrote tons of books and he channeled like all the different positions of the archangels and the superposition of different things on the planet's cosmos. Like Urantia book's crazy. They'll send you a free one if you go to their website and you say you want one. They'll send you a free Urantia
You
book.
say you want one. That's how you got.
For
You
sure.
go. You tell them I sent you. Tell them you want one.
Hey, well, see, I found out about this at Hempfest in Washington in 2018. I'm wandering around
Oh.
Hempfest and there's this tent and they got your Urantia books and there's a couple books out and I go and I look, it's like the archangel of this is doing this and this, and I read a couple lines. I say, yeah, that sounds about right, and flip forward, says in the lost city of Atlantis, this and this and this, and I'm like, yeah, that seems about right. And so I engage them talking and they're like, you also see the book is real. I'm like, whoa, this book is interesting. But then there's this woman who's got like a severe speech impediment and she's,
Uh-huh.
I'm so glad you found us, like talking about me at Hempfest as a person who was there not trying to get like free swag from them, but I wanted to talk about the nature of this occult book that they were sharing. And the
Hmm.
Urantia Society spreads pretty far and wide, but it's another system. Just because it's a system doesn't mean it's right. However, some of us never learned how to make cursive letters, so our brain doesn't process in cursive. Whereas some of us only learn the rules of softball and never learn the rules of baseball. There are some nuances, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That is super interesting.
All the time, man. I got follow through like Tiger Woods. Come on.
That's super. That's super interesting. It's like they're just popping in and out of existence all the time. These sort of like belief systems,
Mm-hmm.
all the many various. So that book is its own. There's a huge cult of them who believe that it's verbatim, like they treat it as an actual Bible of their practice.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Damn. So in a sense, it does become real, and they do go throughout their experience receiving the validation of that in a sense, right? Do you think it extends post death? Like it's like so many thoughts believe they get thrown around, or people have like, well, your heaven is whatever you believe it is. How do you feel about that?
In regards to multidimensional existence, we're
Sure.
looking at, if you wake up and you believe that your name is Tom, when
Uh-huh.
you go into a crowd, people say, Tom, you're going to turn and look. Okay. So if you believe that you're wearing your normal clothes and you walk up to somebody and they say, I hate anybody who wears orange socks, you're going
Uh-huh.
to be like, that doesn't affect me at all because most people aren't wearing orange socks. If you happen to be wearing orange socks, you'd be like, can you see my socks? Do you really know? Like, there's that kind of discussion. So when it goes into what happens after our death, in my mind, the discussion of what death holds after is actually predicated on what you think life is about now. Because if you're living in a way that says that heaven is in the future and Shambhala is something you're going to get to and eventually you're going to repent and be forgiven, then you're probably not going to focus so hard on getting this putt to that hole so quickly. You might waffle a bit. You might take
Uh-huh.
some extra time. But if
Uh-huh.
you believe that you're living incarnate as your highest form and this is your last life here, you may have like that Shinto Shaolin approach where
Mm-hmm.
everything is sacred and holy, so you're going to go slow no matter what. If
Mm-hmm.
there's something that happens, that calm, peaceful, balanced approach rather than running in like guns blazing, shoot now, ask questions later kind of idea.
Uh-huh.
A lot of that is informed by a brain from the Western society that says that Christianity is the pathway. So the future of heaven is a kingdom in the future. It's
Uh-huh.
not the kingdom now. But
So you
individuals
think if
who, go ahead.
I died being a devout Christian, that I would wake up just another person who thinks God is still in the future? Is that sort of that?
In the
Because that.
event that you lived, meaning lived, you lived as a devout Christian and you practiced the beliefs of the system, it doesn't matter if you really believed it in your mind, but if you lived it and you executed it,
Uh-huh.
you would then be incarnating in Christian heaven.
I see.
Christian heaven's got like a timer on it because purgatory is attached to that myth.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not there ad infinitum forever. It could be Keter, it could be the higher Sephira of the Kabbalah if you're going to go into that direction,
Uh-huh.
or it could be another level of the Bardo, or you could be reincarnating as a nematode or a great horned owl, and that could be heaven for you. It has more to do with the way people live rather than
Would
what they
be.
believe the way that they live is.
Yeah. That's a good thing to distinguish, because I do toss around the word belief a lot, like it's the end all say all, but there is a lot to say about how you actually live.
Right. You have to be that life. You have to believe
uh,
it.
uh-huh. Well put. Oh,
Gratitude.
and we got a link from your Ancha.
Word.
The he was tapped into the womb. Is that a Jesus throwback? Dude, study a lot of Kabbalah was your way in, right? Is that
So
your forte
I
of
huh?
interest? Your original?
um my intro was finding about color magic,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, color magic.
tarot, and Kabbalah all at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So
I
that
remember now.
combination synthesized against a lot of Bardic and Druidic traditions, which I picked up on my way out of Catholicism by using the pathway of the Knights Templar and the Knights Malta, and then eventually
Really?
the others. You
Getting
asked,
up
man.
Knights Templar stuff? Nice. That's
Right,
cool.
for sure. So it's just how I was raised. It's just that kind of system. But there's a lot of discussion about how the soul incarnation modes work because somebody could say that you write a soul contract today and you could stop incarnating if you just devote all of your life to the devotion is the important part. What you're devoting it to is less important, but because you've devoted all of it, it has that kind of expression of authenticality.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when you're talking to someone who believes their beliefs rather than is really good at making their beliefs sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk to a salesman who knows how to pitch that Samsung Galaxy S phone versus you talk to somebody who knows that you really want this pacemaker instead of that pacemaker.
uh-huh. All right. I had a question that was a lot more concise before, but I'll try to make it happen. Or at least the postulation, we'll call it. Uh, this past week I've been thinking. I was thinking, damn, we have our programs that we've had since birth, like the deepest ones, and I do believe we can change it. I also believe that they can be hard to change. And so I was thinking, well, what if, because this whole curation thing's been a topic of mine too. What if I start, because before we were like, Jesus is bad because look what people have done in Jesus' name, like religion is the bloodshed, etc. And so I was like, all right, well, I don't have to pull that part of Jesus, right? If you forgiveness, peace, he gives lots of thanks. He acts out in anger and passion when he's upset about things, like with the who was it, the tax collectors in the square.
Right.
So I've really been thinking lately, like, what if I ride this subconscious wave of programming that's, utilize it, but just curate it instead of trying to drop the whole thing altogether and play Super Saiyan as far as, mind reprogramming goes, and like jump ship to a completely new pantheon and have that much conviction all over again, kind of thing. Feel me knocking?
Absolutely. What you're discussing is the idea of living a Gnostic or a Christic, meaning Christ mystic life. And you're not focused on the shit that they said he said. You're focused on what he did. And then you're living with that as your model.
I see.
And I think what you'll find by following that pathway is, again, you'll find out that if you need the external Buddha That is only supposed to remind you of the internal belief.
Uh-huh.
So you're only looking at this carpenter guy because somebody said he's doing it right. As soon as you have the conviction to carry your own cross within and know that you are doing it properly, you no
Mm,
longer need to look to the guy wearing the thorny crown because everybody gets their circuits twisted and scarred every now and then.
mm. Nice.
Conceptually, it has a lot to do with the idea of empowerment. Originally, religare, religion, was to relate to people. You had a community and you had common shared beliefs. So if you don't have flexible, malleable beliefs, you're either an acolyte of the order, you're representing that solidity, or you're somebody who didn't get the new hymn book. So they said it's time for this and you're reading the wrong one.
Uh-huh. So this is Gnostic.
The
You say,
Gnostic texts would be writing about this, and this is also done by an individual who's known as a prophet by some, but Samael Amoyor is someone who's connected to Glorian Publishing and wrote a lot of books in the 80s specifically about how to traverse this kind of conversational landscape with an intention of accuracy. So you can
yeah,
get
with
a lot of
useful.
lectures. Oh, dude.
Useful. As far as Gnostics go, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole because I feel it's vague, and I've
Right,
gone
right.
in coming out with two completely different perspectives of it, and I'm like, I
Those
kind of
are
got that idea where it's like I gotta like do this right. I'm not trying to really fuck around with
for
Gnostics
sure.
too much.
So I think you grok the first part, and the first part of Gnosticism would be gnosis, and that's where you know something from knowing it.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you know it because you had it in a dream. Maybe you know it because you watched your family do it all your life, so it's kind of burned into you. Or maybe
Uh-huh.
you know it just because you picked up the guitar and could automatically play.
Hmm.
That is gnosis. The Gnostics, as a collective, you have to think of a group of anarchists. Okay.
Hmm.
I've gone to anarchist meetings and I got really kind of flustered because the anarchists at the anarchist meeting were arguing about what other anarchists could be there and what they were going to publish in their anarchist monthly newsletters. That didn't sound like
What do we
anarchy at
want?
all.
Anarchy. When do we want it? Now. Not now. Whenever I say.
That kind of idea is also when people claim to be channeling something or claim to have all this wisdom and they're not citing a lineage.
Uh-huh.
As soon as you can cite a lineage and say, I'm speaking on the Gnostic wisdom as taught in the Zohar,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you've established your platform and where you're shooting from. But if
Uh-huh.
somebody's just going to throw a ball, they don't know that that is the pitching mound at the center of the stadium. They
Uh-huh.
just think that you're throwing a ball to them.
Uh-huh. I see. I see
So,
it. I see.
is this useful?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've been wanting to do more, or I've been considering doing a Gnostic text for one of the ones that I send you.
Weird.
Trying to figure out which one I want to give to you, something that's like relatively short so I can bang it out in like a week or so.
Okay, there's a couple recommendations in chat right now.
Nice. The Book of Mary. Yes. Wait, which one? Magdalene or Mother Mary? Down
Apocrypha.
for both.
Word.
Down for both. But I was thinking Mother of Jesus. She has her own. There's a Gnostic text of Mother of Maria.
We'll dig into it.
Oh, Zohar is a good read too. All right. Well, you gave me Zohar. I'm gonna look up. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Enoch would be Gnostic text then, right? So
Yeah,
would
I
you
think it's
consider Gnostic text anything outside of canon, including canon?
personally, to me, Gnosis has nothing to do with biblical or Abrahamic traditions.
Okay, New Testament then is what I meant to say.
Word, fair. I think that somebody could pick up the Tao of Pooh and that could have some Gnosticism in it. Or the Tao of Piglet, too. That's another great one.
All right, fair. Got it. Study the Gnostic texts. Jesus. Okay, well, she said them in general. Yeah. Okay, Magdalene. I think I listened. I've probably listened to all the Gnostic, if that's what we're calling them. I basically, when I say that, I'm referring to anything that's not in canon Bible. So like Enoch, Mary. I've listened to. There was Thomas was the most recent one I read because that one was bouncing all over YouTube.
So that sounds
Apparently,
like
there's all kinds of stuff going on with.
it sounds like you're getting into some of the Dead Sea Scroll territory.
That's probably what the algorithm is feeding me,
Sure. No worries. It's
which
important.
I'm okay with.
Yeah. it's important to have a foundation to where you're learning things from and where you're getting it to, because a lot of the things inside of the Dead Sea Scrolls are going to be coming from a different kind of collection than some of the other texts that are related. So for Christic teaching specifically outside of the biblical dogma, I'd recommend MCEO, Melchizedek Emerald Cloistered Order. So they're an interesting group. Yeah, they read it.
MCEO.
I'll pull you up a link for sure.
All right. Yeah, but you're gonna send me 1,000 links, and I'm writing down my most favorite of those, so I know which ones to go to first.
Very good. So I got the Apocryphal Writings and Life of Mary, the Mother of Jesus. That's inside the link between you and I, because I don't know if YouTube's going to try to squish that. And then from the Ascension Dictionary, I'm going to shoot that there and then see if I can get it inside of over here.
Nailed it. All about Mary. Nice. Thank you for this. This is simply splendid.
Happy to. All right, let's see if I can relay this link to Agent Smith in the Discord, because it's not going to let me drop directly.
Dude, apocryphal might be one of my all-time favorite words. I don't know what it is. So it just rolls off the tongue with something behind it, man. I don't know what it is.
So if you wanted to dive into that direction, it'd be a matter of you getting familiar with your own phonetics and then eventually diving in the direction of studying the Phoenicians.
Makes perfect sense.
We're just cutting it up, man. Together. I'm just going to use more of the same. So,
like phonetics. You're looking for the Phoenicians.
Right, and that has to do with pronunciation and enunciation and oration, because at one point in time it was.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that world a lot, actually.
Word.
Dope. So just study the Phoenicians. I mean, I watched a couple Who Were the Phoenicians on YouTube, the cool in-depth history. It's cool to see those, by the way, all those like no-name countries. But
right,
what am I looking?
Part of that's a difference in the study if you're just going to check out the idea of like, oh, the Phoenicians, they existed like the Maya, like the Aztec, like all of these ancient people, versus if you're going to treat it like something super serious, something super serial that you got to sit down and take some time on, because maybe you're looking at the Phoenicians to see if you have any resonant feelings of that as part of your soul family. I know if I'm looking at stuff from the Maya and I'm like, oh, cool, the Maya, this kind of stuff. But if I look at stuff from the Maya saying, these are actually one of the most advanced beyond terrestrial consciousnesses that we have. We're just convinced that glowing lights are better than understanding on an internal level.
Yeah.
So you could dive into some of the phonetic and Phoenician mysteries to see if you could sharpen some of your tools. But a lot of it has to do more so with defining and deciding what you want to be using those tools for, which sounds like it's pretty clear so far. So what you choose to do will be the right choice.
Yeah. Yes, I was going to say something, but you said it a lot better. All right. Apocrypha is a collect. Oh, okay. So that's what I need to hit up. The Apocrypha. Probably, see, just another variation of the coolest word I think I've ever come across. Looking that up. And DuckDuckGo. So nice. First appeared in a Greek translation of the Old Testament called the Septuagint. The Septuagint was produced in Alexandria, Egypt. Man, you know what breaks my heart? I only think about it like once a year, but I think about all the books that were lost in the burning of Alexandria.
It's like all of mankind accidentally closed the browser window with all their tabs open, and they're just like,
and they're just like, no. They're like, dude, you closed it. Did you save it? No, man, it's gone, all of it.
What do you mean save?
They're gone. Oh, dude, yeah, I can't fucking imagine. Like,
okay, so what is your relationship with like the Akashic field and the Akashic records and that kind of component?
I came across them and really only come across them when I'm doing my lucid dreaming studies / astral projection studies. And outside that, I don't come across it much. But I don't know how I feel about it. I know what it is, like, I think I know what it is. It's just the answers of everything of all time, period, is you find in the Akashic records, right? More or less?
Sure. I tend to say it's less time-space dependent, and more so it's the archive of everything that's ever happened.
Correct. But my point is you can go into said archive, like all archives, and extract information.
Right. For sure. It would also be something where you could go and you could review the last couple pages so you have an idea what the next couple pages look like.
Great.
Kind of get a theme for the chapter. Kind of see what your handwriting was the last time you dipped in there, because maybe you've been using small capitals for a little while and you didn't notice that that kicks differently than using proper lowercase.
Uh-huh.
Because we're authoring the Akashic records as well. They're arguably Akashic hard drives available to us. So that means that you also have to think about your Akashic backups and if you've air gapped your backups. Because if you just have your Akashic field running inside of yourself and all of your ideas are totally in your energetic field, and then something traumatic happens and you lose the plot, do you have a book? Do you have an art piece, something that you made that you can look back in and redial in and key into? Do you have like a daily ritual? Not that the ritual is required, but that ceremony of you taking time to chant and to pray in front of the pictures and the idols of your family or the important things is going to reconnect you in the event that there's any disturbance. And what is life besides disturbance?
Yes, but when you're talking about Akashic records, I remembered now why I was put off to it. It was because, at least under the lens I was reading it,
Sure.
it seemed a lot of the whole free will or no free will. We're writing the records, but they're also already written because they contain everything that's ever happened, which much means everything that's ever happened. So it's like it's sort of because like the infinite question circle answer, and so I was like, no, on to the next.
It's the time-space dependence of reality, because treating the Akashic records as though it's a manifestation or a evocation field would be an error. It's actually divination. So you got to go with it to the fact that if you're looking at the records, you're modifying them ever so lightly because you touch the pages, but it's not like you're getting a carbon copy of what's going to happen in the next scene, because sometimes actors just don't follow the script.
Say it again.
Sometimes actors just don't follow the script. So if you were to read the Akashic records or have a reading done, it doesn't mean that what you're told is empirically going to happen. Sometimes simply looking using divination at something, it changes your relationship to that.
So you're saying is what's really going to kick my noodle later is what I have knocked over the vase if you hadn't said anything.
And the cookies are done.
And the cookies are done. And the and the cookies are done. Q Smith. All right, I like that. That's cooler. I get that a little more. I guess in my head I always saw it as like I'm going, or how it was presented. I feel like that's a accurate representation of how I came across it. Was you asked to project and you go to this frequential realm where the answers to things are, and you find the answer and you bring them back here, and that answer could be anything from everywhere, anywhere, anyhow, of all the infinite dimensions, forward and backwards, period. And so I was like, wait, so that means all
what's precluding that you're entering the space of all the answers with the proper question?
That
would be that's saying that like the talented librarian doesn't know.
I see what you're saying.
They know where the things are. So I agree with the idea that you're experiencing kind of an Akashic field because you're accessing a different form of intuition and knowledge. However, it's easily monetized in the sense that I'm going to read your past lives. I'm going to do these things and charge you a fee for a half-hour conversation. So
that's what they're doing.
If you can't see their lineage, if they're not saying who they learned it from and then who their teacher's teacher was, and then you can trace it, then you have to wonder, okay, maybe it's a hot channel from the Pleiadians that came in and you got it, or maybe you're grifting me. And some people like to be grifted. Some people go to a fortune teller so they can read their palm and tell them that they're beautiful. That's just what they need to hear.
Yeah. I mean, if I were a fortune reader, I feel like I would be able to pick that up, and I would do that anyways. I'd be like, this person doesn't need their future. This person needs to be told they're now. You know what I mean?
Right. And so in that way, divination would make a different manifestation. Instead of you telling them the future per se, you'd be reinforcing the present. And that would be giving them a new past, because then they say, oh, I went to this fortune teller and they said this, so therefore it means that. When really, it's not the fact that you are or are not the one. It's the fact that you're not ready to accept it yet.
Sorry. I said, I see.
Yeah.
And she thought I said, hey, Siri.
Whoa.
and shut you off. And she popped on. Siri, you bastard. Get out of here. Sketch. Yeah, I didn't hear what you said before that, like 4 seconds of Siri trying to get my attention.
You're square. I'm just writing threads. If you have the last few words, I can reconnect to it, but I figure it's all stitched.
I think we stitched it. Oh yeah, we were on the Akashic kick. I'll pay it more thought, especially because I've been taking my dream spagyric lately, and I've been getting into the more whimsical, etheric dream space this past.
Word. I'm super stoked to try that, by the way. You got the Venmo that I sent you?
I got my new phone and I haven't synced everything up yet. Did I download Venmo? Oh, I didn't sign in yet. That's why. I'm sure it's there.
No
I
worries.
haven't hooked everything up. But thank you, brother. Hell yeah. Um, fuck, I'm gonna send you like 3 bottles of that stuff since you like gifting it. Keep 2 for yourself because the shit works, then keep 3rd to gift it.
Nice.
And yeah, they're like, yeah, they come from the earth. They're a dime a dozen practically. It just just takes some like focused concentration for a few weeks to get them in my hands. But other than that, it's like
Right. So I
I
got to
don't
make
need.
sure that got to make sure at least one of those ends to Agent Smith because he's saying that he'd be needing it. But just because you
Ooh.
think that that's a simple action doesn't mean that it's not a super complicated action for others. Because for me to make it dream, that's that's pretty much you asking me to teleport. Like I'm talented in that. Teleporting better, but the making of the tinct and the nah.
The thank you for that. Some things I do that. The spagyric I don't actually make the spagyric ones. I make my essential oils, but the spagyric I grow the shit and sand it off. That's what I mean. It just comes from Mama Earth. Just so I didn't mean to like play humble man or anything. I just want to make sure that people are like buying it and like Keith made this. I'm like, no, I definitely didn't make it, guy. Like that one in particular. But it pops. That's why specifically too, because I want someone to be like, we'll make other things for me. Like what? But anywho, that's what I was getting at. I was like, I just I make money here, there, bada bing. But like you're giving them out, and I would love to have them. And I'm curious because you said you work with. Do you work with mugwort already? You told me that you worked with a couple plants already, but it was
Motherwort more than mugwort right now.
motherwort. That's the one here. Okay. I'm curious to see what happens when you try these things out, man. They fucking it's crazy. Like it's crazy. The first night I took it, I had so many dreams that I couldn't like. I had at least 10 dreams, dude, and I couldn't remember any of them because there was so much. Like it was just like an overwhelming. My bad, Risa.
Now the conversation becomes etiquette, and the easiest way to have this kind of set and setting established is imagine for a moment that you're a professional amusement park secret shopper.
Uh huh.
So all you do is you go to different amusement parks, and your goal is to go there and to
Love that
observe
job.
it and to make sure that it's all up to cuts.
Uh
To
huh.
make sure that like all the garbages are emptied appropriately and like all the people are saying actually pull the thing down in front of you on the roller coaster. And that
Uh-huh.
kind of attitude means that you're going to begin to dial into the effectiveness of other people's containers.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So by creating your own vibrational signature of communicating objects and ideas to people, you're
Uh-huh.
refining yourself less as the middleman and less as the source, but more as a trusted individual.
Mm.
Because if something's coming out of your head and you're casting saying, hey, you definitely got to order some things from Alchemy of Life. They know what's up. They print all
Uh-huh.
their stuff at home. They do it all from scratch custom. I know that it's trustworthy product. The people are going to hear that you know that. They also can hear when this episode brought to you by Blue Chew. Everybody knows that you need to chew this gum because it's really important for us to sell this product. Like, excuse me, you can tell when people are not committed and not
Uh-huh.
dedicated to it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Nice.
Word. I think that you're running a really awesome separate server of the Matrix. You found a way to carve a little dimensional reality, and that's where these people can join and learn and move and participate. And if you're keyed into Man of Letters, you see its astral presence. You see it's got a lot of thought forms idea behind it, so you can feel like you're part of a clique.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to picture. I saw the little sub area of the Matrix, and then I saw the things bouncing outside of it. Of like, I was like, oh shit, it does do that though on a level when you
Did
think
you see
about it.
the Animatrix?
No,
Oh, dude.
I don't think I did.
Multiple brain explosions for the Animatrix, worth seeing.
Oh, as in the animated Matrix.
Yeah, the
No,
Animatrix
I've seen.
series
I
of
know what you're
shorts.
talking about though. I've been meaning to, but I don't get reminded of it often enough to go. But I'm gonna write it down right now because fucking yeah. Because I especially because the other day I put on the Matrix for background because like why not?
Yep.
But that would have been dope to just throw that on instead. Although it doesn't sound
So
like
I think you're gonna want to sit down and then like have popcorn or at least a snack food and go with it because after you see
yeah,
that,
definitely.
Glitchcraft is gonna make way more sense.
Okay. Wait, Glitchcraft. What's Glitchcraft?
Yeah. Woohoo! Woo!
The Glitchcraft that abandoned it? Oh no, the Glitch Mob.
Yeah, no, the Glitch Mob's pretty cool. They've got some stuff. I've seen them. They were really awesome underground, but then when they signed with Disney and did the Tron soundtrack, that kind of sound changed. But
It was awful. I remember that. I totally forgot they even did that until you just brought it up right now. But it was. But I remember Glitch Mob like 2012 romping in the mountains of Santa Barbara, a few doses deep, staring at the Milky Way, and I was just like, "This is it." Thank you. Damn, I haven't listened to Glitch Mob in a while. But what's Glitchcraft?
So to define it in this way is going to be really limited because it's happening through a screen from a dude wearing a shirt with a cat in like a room, and it can't really be like too official of a definition per se. We're just going to say that the word witchcraft and the word glitchcraft are very similar.
Ooh. I like where this is going.
For sure. So by watching the Animatrix, you'll get some more ideas of how individuals are modifying their reality and intentionally placing different parts of code structure into their experience. So
that's what I'm talking about, man.
Tone.
That's what I'm talking about.
Dang. Yeah, you got people in your chats even saying that you should be watching this. So maybe you could do like a group watch, like everybody watch it together. That'd be something.
What up? How's that sound, you guys? Maybe we'll do that Sunday nights. Next one, maybe we'll do that. I'm tired of having to come up with topics. Maybe we'll just have a movie night on Sunday. Run alive. Maybe light some candles in front of the screen. I can't have it playing on the screen, I'm sure, because of copyright. But set it up. Sunday at 6. You guys down? Yeah, everyone's saying I need to watch it. Agent Smith, Stephanie Ramirez. Yeah, Artemis. This guy's dope. Artemis.
Many things.
Gianni. The Oracle. What up, Bianca? I've been meaning to get Bianca on the channel for like probably a month now. We'll get you on, Bianca. B, my bad. I think she's gonna do a natal chart for me. So we're gonna dive deep. We're gonna
super dope.
Yeah. I know that your average Oracle would probably advise against that, but bring it. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. I'm sure there's ways to negate that, right? There's got to be ways to.
Undo button, right? There's got to be an undo button.
Got to be like just hair. I got a hair charm. Atticus is all about the hair binding charm, right? But I'm not sure. She's got to have a soul binding charm of sorts. That's cool. That's also like about that, how the Atticus and how the Druids work, because it's all about like, you got the fundamentals. It's like, all right, now be creative with how you put them together to like achieve something. You know, it's all about kind of creativity. And yeah, it's fun, man.
For sure. I think you can look at it in some ways that it's developing your own form of spiritual martial art.
Yeah, it is 110%.
If you look at like the evolution of primitive man, and there were some wellness stretches, and like people ran a lot, so they developed ways of stretching and moving. And you can trace some of it to forms of yoga or shadow boxing, some of the ancient forms of movement. But then those progressively came more fixed and more formalized and more structured. And now you have katas, where people are doing the same thing over and over again, and they're learning kung fu. And that kind of system didn't exist. 10,000 years ago was kung fu a thing? Okay, so what you're making right now is man of letters kung fu. You're defining the new Shaolin. This is RTA to the next level, because you're creating the architecture that says that this is a meta-modality reality.
Yeah.
That means that you can see something or you can visualize something. So you could see a picture and then you could visualize on top of it more data that allows it to hit you harder, for it to be more real. And that has a lot to do with what you're using, Frank or Fred or dark matter. Or
Fred, I need something.
Mama, I need something.
Mama, I got this. I need clarity. I was that guy. That's how I'm sorry if I'm triggering you guys. I'm only saying it because that's what I asked like 6 times. So
dang, man, to
me, in one way or another.
All you got to do is sacrifice some comfort.
What do you mean?
Take some genuine comfort that you have and put it on the chopping block, and you'll all of a sudden get clarity. So if you're comfortable in the way things are going, find something you'd be uncomfortable doing and consider.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like the quote says, you live life when you're on the edge of uncomfortable, something like that.
Word.
And I was thinking of...
life starts at the edge of your comfort zone.
There you go. It's like some fucking classroom poster somewhere says it's better than I. But it made me think of what you were talking about with the shamans on how they would give you enough till you're on the brink of death. I'm like, all right, right to the edge of life. They just took it to the next extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I hear that.
You're so close to your next incarnation, we're going to just tickle it to make sure that you remember you're still in this one. It's kind of like when you start a video game and you start and you got all the powers and all the things. You're like, this is awesome. And then you finish the first to the cutscene and then you got nothing. And you're like, what? You got like starting equipment and you can't do the double flips or anything. And you're like, this is crap. Like, that's how they get you. You incarnate as like a spiritual master a couple of times and you got to come back and teach people how it all works.
And I've never had that or heard that presented before. That's interesting. Huh.
Taking game theory to the next level.
Why not, man? It happened that way before. Who's to say it doesn't happen again in a different way? Je suis. What's up, man? Jared Dops. Hello. Between the Veil. Thank you guys for. Oh, I forgot to give my proper that I normally do. If you're in the room, thank you for fucking being here. We have 32 people. I don't normally sustain high numbers of streamers, so I'm super thankful. I'm glad that you guys are getting some good shit from this. I know you are because I am. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. It does add something, man, to be talking with people. Like, it does. Talking about doing things uncomfortably. I never thought I'd be doing fucking streaming like this seamlessly. I could barely talk to a camera without someone watching it, let alone like with a bunch of people. So
what other things are you excited about doing that right now you think are out of your wheelhouse? And yes, principal correspondence. Good job. Artemis gets a gold star.
Yeah, he did. well done. So the one thing, it's not what I'm going in the direction of it, but my angle seems a little silly. Seems really silly. I mean, not silly to you guys, but like figuring out how to actually like pull this into the physical realm seems almost like.
I think it's less a pull and more a grow.
Okay, that feels better. I like growing shit. Okay, we'll go for that.
You get some serious gold and you're working. You did a lot of things and you dinged it correctly because reality reflected back to you people also utilizing this digital mechanism who are equally invested in the objective outcomes that you have without attachment to the understanding that they need recognition for creating that.
That's the kicker. 110%.
Bless, bruv. You just said, hey, I'm here. And others are like, we're here too. Like, this is assembly mode.
I'm like, really? Like, yeah. Like, all right, well, fuck, let's go. But yeah, that thing is, I talk about on the channel all the time, building up my property. But my end goal is I would like, maybe I have shared this on show, but I want to put an actual pyramid, an actual to scale, yet smaller, but to scale pyramid of Cheops. The pyramid. It could be whatever. If it's small enough to house fucking 10 people, whatever, then it's small. But built out of dolomite, all the stones. I want 2 fat fucking obelisks outside of it. I want frankincense trees planted all around that bitch. Like, I have 10 acres of land. I can do it, but I've started going that direction. It's like, how's that gonna happen? You know?
You got a deadline yet?
No deadline.
I'm gonna say, if possible, tentatively schedule a party there 2025 and make sure that you at least have the capacity to host people and have a party there, if not done by then, because then you tether it into your time space.
I see.
Right now it's a someday maybe goal. You hear me?
Yeah. All right, let's do that.
Word.
All right, we're doing
it for sure. I'm gonna show up with a banging sound system to whatever landmass is going to be collecting these human beings, and we're gonna that's the objective. Know this.
Thank you. I do actually. I do know that. That's why I had this conversation with you earlier. It's like, if I see great things done, like, I gotta be great to great people and like really be sincere about it, and like that's how shit happens. So I do see you there, but so now I'm like, but I'm telling you, dude, I don't need, like, whatever the fuck you want. You could be doing whatever, like plant ceremony or giant gongs, like put that sarcophagus in there. You can sit in that bitch for a week, and if you want to do week fast in a pyramid, like, have you read that book Pyramid Power?
Pyramid Power? No, who's it by?
One of the dudes' last name is Thoth. It's actually written by two guys. I can't remember either one of them's name except for Thoth. Like probably just his pen name. Anywho, it's really cool, man. Remember earlier?
Max
Yeah, I got.
Toastgreg Nielsen.
Okay, there maybe he gave it to himself. So check this for serendipitous. We were talking about Philip Glass earlier.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I like Philip Glass so much is because in that book, Pyramid Power, he tells a story demonstrating pyramid power. And he says, I got a chance to visit it and they were playing music in it. And I inherently knew, I don't know how, I've never heard this artist before. I just heard it and it sounded like the most magnificent piece I'd ever heard. And I knew the guy's name was Philip Glass and like this and that. And he wouldn't ask the guy, and who's like, what song is this? And he goes, oh, it's an artist named Philip Glass. And he was like, that was my personal experience with it. And then it goes through test after test of how, like, scientific test of how foods cure, like how it changes the properties of water, or milk turns to butter and cream without having to stir it. Like all kinds of weird phenomena happen when you place an object 2/3 of the way up inside of a pyramid shaped to the same scale of Cheops made with non-metallic so rock, woods, just organic materials, and they assumed there was a quartz crystal on top to sort of amplify with the gold. And so I'm trying to recreate that, but a big one, dude, with made out of stone and like limestone on the outside, so it has that white sheen that it once had in its former glory days. Like that's my most prominent fantasy as far as everything that I'm culminating to do. Like that's not a practical one or a necessarily practical one.
That sounds more like legacy activity.
Sure. Yeah.
The kind of thing that you're trying to do to show the testament of time that you existed. To accomplish the expression of your soul's raison d'etre, like the reason for your deaditude, without having it required that other people even understand it.
Uh-huh. For sure. Yeah, yeah, there's definitely no need for other people to understand that. That's never been a thought. It's more so like this, like it needs to be brought back. Like I need to see this thing manifest, you know.
Right. And so another way to see that would be if you're insisting or desiring or preferring something to return to a previous space, you understand the necessity that brought it to begin with.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a difference between wanting to build wanting to build an igloo because you've seen one before versus wanting to build an igloo because you're in an ice tundra and you need shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the way going about constructing a pyramid now, in co-dreaming in astral space, there's things like this that can happen a lot if you have that kind of initiative, direction, and engineering. But to build your pyramid because you've seen other pyramids is going to have a different engine, motivating source, rather than the mindset that says that you're building this pyramid because this is your purpose or your desire or your want.
I see.
Something that you're fulfilling with the power of the dark matter as your belief fuel, rather than trying to replicate the Pharaoh Ramses creation because you're so obsessed with how his turned out. That'd be almost like recording a meditation in your own voice and then being surprised if you couldn't fall into a trance from your own voice.
I see. So you're suggesting, or not even suggesting, you're just saying that there's a different quality of energy when you're doing something as like this sort of soul quest, this rather than, for sure, if that's the case, 100%, it's like,
and that's part of the non-attachment to the expectation of its result. If it was something that you were doing to like show people or to demonstrate or to bring back Hathor or whatever it would be, that would be your purpose.
I'm bringing her back, by the way.
Who's to say she ever left?
Fair, my bad, Hathor, my bad.
Like, hey, we got to get this person. Like, they still here. They didn't go anywhere. Why do you think you got to bring them back? Like,
strike me down if I have offended thee, Hathor. Sorry.
Oh, man. The motivating principle that I'm hearing you orate about and to speak of is that you know the quest to creating this artifact is the holy quest. It's not like you're trying to build this pyramid to then do things on it or around it. You just want to make it for its isness, knowing that once it exists, then there will be other things that happen from that informed state of mind.
Okay, I would say, but I would say there's both though. There's definitely like, I mean, I personally would like to stay inside of it. Like that's my, I would like to build it and then I'm imagining myself in it. You know, I'm just like, oh fuck, I did it. I'm in a pyramid.
Right.
Oh.
And the more vivid you do that, and the more detail, if you can get that in 4K HD surround sound, feel the temperature, get the gravity, identify how your feet feel walking down the steps, by embracing that vividly, you're creating a hot buffer between that reality and this plane. In the same way that if somebody watches a good baseball game and then models a good baseball player, when they're finally on the field, they'll know what to do.
Yeah, I see. Uh-huh.
But if you're just thinking about you want this for these things,
Yeah,
and then you're thinking about how awesome the raves are going to be inside of the pyramid,
I
which is
see. Yeah,
dope,
yeah,
that's not really going to give you the initiative to say that, okay, now it's time to set the first cornerstone.
yeah. Literally, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I definitely do have some good feels behind it when I do. Like I get genuine excitement because I made steps toward it finally with these plant ceremonies I've been having. I'm like, all right, it's a foot in the door. Okay, decent income coming. I can see just piping some electricity, piping some water. Again. So I when I think about it, it's not as far away as I'm playing it off to be, basically. But it's still like a fantastic idea. Like who the fuck has their own pyramid? So
They are defensive things. I'm in much
maybe,
approval of this.
maybe even a couple of maybe a Mayan styled step pyramid too, man. Like
Dang.
so, yeah. There are things to be made manifest, man, and I'm doing what I can to make it happen. If not this lifetime, the next.
You have support.
Queen Amari, thanks, man. There are a lot of gems in this. Thanks, Woolman. I'm sorry that was slipped. Queen Amari, thank you. There are tons of gems in this, including yourself. Between the veil, imagine the energy emitted from ritual done within that. That I know. Trust me. Between the veil, I have been imagining all the things that could be done with a pyramid like that. Haven't even talked about the capstone yet, man. Imagine a fat capstone of quartz. I don't even know if they come that big, but I don't know if I have it in me to cut down a quartz that big. That would like break my heart, unless one already existed.
Dang. Well, bake your noodle. In America, in all the Capitol buildings, that's copper.
Uh-huh.
So what that is a copper bioelectric capstone for everybody sitting inside of that room, and their crown energy is going up and hitting the copper pipe and then creating this kind of copper plate that's creating a cone that goes up and projects higher. So by having your pyramid as you have it and having things on the side, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to generate energy to go upwards towards the capstone of whatever it is.
Absolutely.
The organicness, meaning the non-physical nature, more that you identify that the capstone needs to resonate at such a frequency, will allow it to manifest, because maybe you know somebody with a 3D printer who's just figured out how to print quartz by that time.
What?
So you don't have to cut or break anything. You could build it. But if you're informing the mind that says that you're going to get this thing in the way that things are now, you're limiting the growth potential between here and there. Like, I'm scrubbing the timeline back and forth. Fred's one of my buddies. Dark Matter and I go way back.
Fair. If that's the case, then ask Fred for a real one. I don't want no fucking GMO fabricated. I want one that's been chilling in Mama Earth since the dawn of time to be placed on top of this pyramid.
It's probably going to be something like you're running an errand somewhere and you decide to take a turn on a road that you normally don't take, and then you stop and you see that there's this museum that's going out of business, and you go inside this museum and you see that there's this thing that just got knocked over and show this thing, and you're like, can I have that? And the museum owner's like, sure, if you help me move this, and you move that and you get that and you go where you're going and you realize, oh, I got the capstone. How did that happen?
Got the Arkenstone. All right, I'll keep that thought in mind. That's how I would like it to play out then. 3D printers is plan B, but plan A is definitely a Gaia stone.
Dang, for sure. I'm gonna keep working on 4D printers, but you do your thing.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, of course you're thinking about 4D.
I'll take a second real quick. Actually, I teach this every morning, but you want to do some stretches real quick on the camera?
I would love to. Yeah, I've been meaning to do that for like 10 minutes now.
Very good. Yeah, I just saw you moving a little bit, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I do this thing, daily insanity yoga. I'm doing it with a bunch of tech professionals every day. So take a second to kind of, yeah, you got a lot more mobility than I'm looking at. So I'm seeing how we can do the stretches. But first one's going to be airplane mode. Just put your arms out to the side. Airplane mode. Yep. as though you're airplane. We're going to do 3 breaths here. So it could be a high cut. You could have like higher wings. It could be lower wings. It could be like you're slowing down. You notice when birds slow down, they kind of bring their wings forward.
Oh, yeah, the flaps.
Yeah, that's a nice, back stretch, gets all those parts. And then you could kind of go back, stretch there again for sure. Nice. So once you got your arms in the airplane space, be ready for the 3 breaths. You're there and breathing in and breathing out. 2 more, almost there. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one for the inhale. And the exhale. Let your arms drop. Down from there. All right, now the next one, I call it firewall pose or self-hug. We're going to wrap your arms around like this. Couple breaths here. Just breathing in. Breathing out. Can reset if you need to. Could adjust up or down, wherever your hands are comfortable. 2 more breaths here. 3 total is the thing. So breathing in. Breathing out. Last one at this point. Breathing in. And breathing out. So for a counter stretch, you may as well stretch the arms the other side, kind of get the other one on top. Not going to focus on like paced breath here, but just kind of like make sure you're not doing all lopsided stuff. Otherwise, you're going to wake up and you'll be like, I totally stretched this half great, but that's half as sore as hell. So one of my favorite ones to do is cat on keyboard. Put your hands out. I kind of called it zombie pose for a while. Then I realized I didn't want people to be thinking more like zombies. We got enough of that.
And I was like, oh man, I don't want the zombie.
Hey, it's cat on keyboard. It's somebody typing a message and not paying attention to spell check.
What up, kittens on keyboards?
Let me just blast it. So doing 3 breaths here with your arms out, it can be higher, it can be lower. That, you probably feel that stretch there. And it's the 3 breaths that do the work. So you breathe in here. Second in. And last breath of all the stretches here, breathing in. Let it go. Now, in the past, probably 20, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, your heart rate dropped.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Finding ways so we can share that sense of de-escalation.
As far as using plants specifically as medicine, I would say stretching is like the dominant of cannabis for me. Like that's why I was stretching earlier, because every time I smoke, I'm just like, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, oh, it feels good. Like always like, oh, so.
Word. It sounds like you've got some of your endocannabinoid system, some
Uh-huh.
of your endocrine system, some of where all of your endorphins are running,
Uh-huh.
kind of clogged up a little bit. Like there's a
Yeah.
little bit of plaque or junk on the inside. And then once you
Uh-huh.
get those cell walls to do that, like, and your reality wiggles because you interacted with a plant medicine,
Uh-huh.
that's allowing the medicated you from a detached point to say, hey, the body is stretched or stressed. If we stretch a little bit, if we allow this cortisol to be freed by stretching these muscles and breaking these bonds, we're going to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mind that is for some reason attached to you zooming out with a plant right now. It could
Yeah.
be you just take a second and you get stoned in your head. You just do the Sadhguru
Yeah.
inner engineering thing and you're like,
Yeah.
I am, I am, I am. And then after chanting I am enough times, I'm like, dude, that's where I am. I got that on my wrist. Like that's where
Uh-huh.
I am. So I never forget. Like that's what I'm focused on because I know that's where we come from. So
Uh-huh.
when you develop a way to tune into your body, maybe it's going outside and playing guitar for a minute. Maybe it's just holding the guitar, not playing any notes. That could be the thing that helps you stretch
Which
your
is surprisingly comforting too. I find myself doing that a lot.
good.
Just like, ah.
Right. So you're hanging out with a resonant chamber at that point in time.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're doing.
So the amount of dark energy or potential energy inside of that acoustic instrument pales in comparison to the amount of dormant energy inside of you. However, it's the kind of thing where it's really cool to see a sheepdog hang out with a chicken.
As you cough, a sheepdog hanging out with what?
A sheepdog hanging out with a chicken. They just chilling. They doing their thing. So if you're hanging out with a guitar, people like to be around grand pianos. They just like to hang around pianos.
Yeah, dude. Fuck, as they should like to be around him.
Word, for sure.
Huh. That's funny. Thank you for that. All right, let's start wrapping this up. What do you say?
Sounds good to me. I'd say as long as there's a way to acknowledge the moon cycle that it's in, because we're building up to the blue moon for the month, yeah?
Blue moon. How come I looked it up and it said Hunter's moon? And someone in the chat earlier said that it was a blue moon also. Was
So
100 was the first of the month, maybe? Is that what it was?
blue moon means it's the second moon of a full moon, or it's the second moon of a month cycle. And then the hunter's moon would be the time of the year that that moon hits.
Okay.
So
Cool.
always be a hunter's moon, but it wouldn't always be a blue moon because it wouldn't always fall in October.
Fair. All right. Thank you for clarifying that, because I was like, blue moon just means a certain kind. I thought it was like a hunter's moon that came just not as often as a.
The hunter's moon that tastes good with orange.
Oh man, it does. It does though. That's really needs the orange to be dropped into it halfway through the bottle. That's what people don't realize.
Oh man,
The orange is the
kingdom for sure.
that's what it is. You can't put it in the beginning because you already have the flavors in the beginning. You're fine. The first it's flawless. But halfway through, when it starts to warm up, get the carbonation going, have it a little extra kick, that's when you drop the orange in there, dude. I'm telling you.
Saved by the buoyancy of citrus.
Oh, speaking of lunar cycles, citrus oils. Yeah, let's talk about the moon cycle because I want to mention the oil idea that we're talking about.
For sure.
Go ahead. You saying something?
I'm ready to talk about the moon cycle thing with the oils and the citrus, and I'm super stoked, but I think you got the ball.
Oh, I was gonna let you go first. Okay, we'll go We'll go my way first then. My bad.
Yeah,
I got excited.
We already visited the moon. We already talked about like its relationship and the fact that we have got this lunar thing. So second full moon is blue, is what Sylvia is saying inside of the.
Oh, dope. All right, so you finished it, is what you're saying.
We're ready,
dope.
man.
All right, cool. Citrus essential oil is why I thought of it is they make your skin more sensitive to UV rays, so you can burn super easily if you're in the sun. You're not. That's why I always says do not apply directly to skin. One of the reasons why. So I was thinking, well, shit, what if we do the oil to skin thing, but under a full moon, under the moon, so that we could amplify the moon's rays. I'm thinking correspondently here, and sort of get a really good benefit out of moon bathing with. I say citrus oils because those oils specifically make your skin sensitive to UV, plus a few choice other plants. But yeah, that's really all that was.
So what I'm hearing is that there's going to be some kind of intentional ritual that's shared among the Man of Letters community using some kinds of essential oils and the moons that will be discussed but not necessarily done live, so that everybody will get the chance to do it in their own time and nobody has to feel like they're being watched on camera while it happens. Is that about right?
Which is a strange thing to have. Not so much, but now that you brought it up, exactly that. I was more throwing the idea out there, but I like the group 100%.
Well, I mean, it sounds like if you want to talk about it specifically, it'd be a matter of dialing it in and being like, cool, here's the orange essential oil, here's the citrus focus, here's the lemon, here's the lime, here's the grapefruit, here's all the star fruit. I wanted to get the spread. And then here's with the sunlight, here's at midday. All right, I'm kind of getting this vibe. Here's it at just before full moon. Here's it at full moon. Or maybe this is what we found and this is what you're sharing, can be like a back and forth.
Ooh,
in my mind, that's an engagement property. And then if people want to start signing up for like a monthly box or something, or they want to start getting regular tinctures or teas or incense, it could be that every Sunday live stream, everybody sparks up some copal, and that's what you got running. You know what I mean? Like there's a way to dial it together. So
I've thought about that before too, about even more specifically with the actual, like if I made 1 gallon of a mix and then disperse that 1 gallon so that everyone was using the actual same one, so that we were even more so dialed in. You know what I mean? I think about that a lot. I'm like, oh, if we all had like the actual same batch, the same batch number 304, and that's the one we were all in our own independent spaces. You know what I mean? So I have thought about that. I do like that thought a lot.
I would say right now, just make a sign-up sheet that says batch 304, put it in the Discord, put it wherever. Once you have 10 people who sign up for batch 304, make it.
Dope.
Because then you know that there's that many people who want it, and you're not trying to rush it and then sitting on it if it doesn't have anywhere to live.
I know what you said. I did that with my purple sage tinctures that I forgot to send to you when I sent out the package. I was so bummed. You didn't get the purple sage tincture, did you?
Nerp.
I know. I have them to give away too at this point because I feel like they're just gonna go bad from here on out. But I'll check if it's still good. I'll get you one because it is nice, dude. It's super refreshing. Like the sage tincture, it's just an ethanol extract, organic ethanol extract.
Nice.
And it's like roughly, I just packed full of one of those big old jars, and then maybe fifth it as far as the concentration down to the extract. And so it's pretty potent, but it's just like the freshest tasting, like drinking cloudy, minty, sagey air almost. It's super.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you got any lying around or any of those things, maybe you can have like a clearance
I have
warehouse.
one right fucking here lying around. That's what I'm saying. It was right like stay every day. I'm like, damn, I wish that place had a home.
I need to send you more things for shipping.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm doing this now. I'm putting this next to my dream tincture that I'm going to be taking tonight. So I remind myself. So that's there as it is. That'll go out with. And when I link up that Venmo to, but yeah, I didn't even know you had placed an order through Venmo. Thank you for letting me know because I hadn't reattached my new phone to it.
No worries. Yeah, I sent 28 cents and I said, "Does Venmo work?" And I waited, and you kicked back.
Oh,
it works. And I said, "Cool, we're moving."
Okay. Oh, on the text you said that?
Nope. After the 28 cents went through, I always send a little bit, like on the live and the whole thing. I'm gonna give a little bit. I'll give you guys a little bit of how this works, but I'm on that freaking like Rumpelstiltskin kick. If you give me, hey, I will give you gold. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
I appreciate. We got like 26 people who've been watching consistently. You commented.
Yeah, we
like
have.
That's woo.
Dope. That's dope.
Gratitude.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And Rich and I were going hard for like an hour before this too. So we've been brainstorming up something fierce for a while now. Thank you, Richie. Appreciate that. Always appreciate that.
And blessed waves to high elven wisdom. Much appreciated.
Yeah, High Elven, you might not be watching. You definitely aren't, but you're in our thoughts. We talked about you too. Yes, we definitely did. So I'll just check the comments and see if there's anything super juicy in the last like 5 or so. Moon, yes, please. Dope. Discord, thank you, Smith. You got that going. I wrote it down. Batch 304. What's up, Kingston? I want to say hi to everybody. Say hi. Say hi. Don't be shy. I'll be out in a little bit.
You got a complete mess in the room.
I bet you do.
In that room.
The living room?
Yeah, but we need help.
Need help with what?
Cleaning it up.
Oh, you need help cleaning it. Of course you need help cleaning it.
It's time for you to go be a cosmic zookeeper, Keith.
Yes, it is. Or either cosmic zookeeper or death by Lego to heal. Which is not fun. All right, looks like we didn't leave anything else behind. Do you want to share your rainbow?
Agent Smith's on it. He already.
Oh, he got you. Oh, of course he did.
And he's on the ball. Yeah, I'm Rainbow Crystal. That's just how I've skinned myself to be found. There'll be more podcasty stuff, more organization. I got a couple music albums that I'm helping produce, so I want to get those out and make sure that everybody's on a good foot. But at this point in time, I'm just super stoked to be able to chat with you. So gratitude. Stay healthy. Stay awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do as per usual. Thank you, everyone else, and looking forward to the Sunday. Just to leave you with something, Sunday we have the Animatrix watch. I wrote that down too. Did you write that down? Yes, I did. So yeah, our Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, 6 Hawaii. On the other side of the Atlantic or Pacific, you're pretty much on your own. 6 Pacific. And I'm stoked because everyone like jumped my ship for not watching that show. So let's do it. All right. Thanks, Smith. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Richie. I'm sure I'll talk to you in the next 48 hours or so. But
sounds good. Remember to breathe and drink water.
Yeah, well, I'm going to end this, not go back to Zoom. All right.
Peace.
All right. Peace out, man. Peace out, everybody.